Good morning, greetings, and welcome to The Bright Side, your nutritional program dedicated to the understanding of the vast world of nutrition and nutritional supplementation. I'm your host, Pharmacist Ben, nutritional pharmacist from Boulder, Colorado. I use nutritional supplements in my practice where other healthcare practitioners use toxic pharmaceutical drugs and sometimes deadly medical procedures. If you suspect that there are natural nutritional roads to your vitality and health and well-being and to addressing your health challenges, whatever they may be, but you don't know where to begin, you have come to the right place. As you listen to The Bright Side every day, you are more and more in control of your body, you are more and more knowledgeable, and you know you can overcome any health issue. That's why we're here every day on The Bright Side, helping clear up the sometimes confusing world of nutrition and nutritional supplementation. Over the last 29 years of practicing pharmacy, I've seen drug-free recoveries from diabetes and hypertension and obesity and skin diseases like acne and psoriasis, eczema, rosacea, digestive ailments, autoimmune issues of all kinds, recoveries that by the standards of modern medicine can only be called a miracle. But what is in the world of the body, what is in the world of biology, standard operating procedure, because the human biological system is a healing system, it's a regenerating system, it is designed divinely to heal and renew itself on a moment-to-moment basis. And while some folks may call that healing, renewing, regenerating system a miracle, it really is just the way the body works. If you have questions about health, nutrition, prescription drugs, if you want to get off your meds and get on a good nutritional supplement program, we are here for you. We welcome your phone calls on the Bright Side. 844-236-6010 is our number, 844-236-6010. If you have questions about ingredients or formulations, something you may have heard about or read about, or if you want to help a loved one get off their meds, and if you want to help yourself get off your meds and get on a good nutritional supplement program, we can help you. 844-236-6010 is our number on the Bright Side. If you want to purchase any of the longevity products you hear advertised on the program, you can head over to my website, brightsideben.com. You can order products right off the site. Also my blog, criticalhealthnews.com and pharmacistben.com. You can order products right off the website, or you can sign up to join the Bright Side Ben team right off the website. And, of course, you're always welcome to call the Bright Side Ben phone team at 866-735-2470, 866-735-2470. If you're interested in purchasing any of our Truth Treatment products, please go to truthtreatments.com, truthtreatments.com. Take a specially long look at our retinol 5% gel, made with more retinol than you're going to find in any other product over the counter. It's designed to be equivalent to Retin-A 0.05%, which typically is 100 times more potent than retinol. Retinoic acid is 100 times more potent than retinol. That's why I chose to use 5% to get you an equivalent dose of Retin-A 0.05%, of course, with no doctor's prescription required. Retinol being over the counter. You could find out all about it at truthtreatments.com, truthtreatments.com. Okay, so continuing on with our discussion on fats, the so-called sex and fertility hormones, estrogen and progesterone and pregnenolone and testosterone, and the skin and the health of the skin. Last we spoke, we were talking about vitamin E and its protective effects on fats. Vitamin E is also an estrogen balancing vitamin if you're dealing with fibroids or cysts or endometriosis. These are all signs of excessive estrogen or estrogen dominance. PMS issues as well, infertility issues, all of these can be thought of as signs of problems breaking down, utilizing estrogen, or too much estrogen, or estrogen out of balance. If you have any of these issues, and if you have any autoimmune issues, or inflammatory issues, or fibromyalgia, or Alzheimer's disease, or Parkinson's disease, all of these can be associated with excess or poorly metabolized estrogen. If you're dealing with any of these problems, think about supplementing with vitamin E. 400 to 800, anywhere from 200 to 800 international units a day. 400 is a good place to be. 800 is a little on the high side. 200 a little on the low side. Anywhere between 2 and 800 IU of vitamin E a day if you're dealing with any of the symptoms of estrogen dominance. This relationship between estrogen and inflammatory diseases cannot be overstated. And likewise, the relationship of estrogen balancing to protect yourself from autoimmune or inflammatory diseases cannot be overstated. Later on, we'll talk about using fiber to help protect against excess estrogen. to help improve inflammatory diseases, autoimmune diseases, and all of the other signs or possible potential aspects of estrogen dominance or poorly metabolized estrogen, fiber, probiotics, all the fatty vitamins, including vitamin A and D and K and vitamin E, digestive enzymes. These are all mechanisms for protection from the effects of excess estrogen or poorly metabolized estrogen. As we said yesterday, the liver and the intestines are the two structures most responsible for estrogen processing. And that means if you got an intestinal problem, and 100 million or more Americans do, or if you have a liver problem and 100 million more or more Americans have fatty liver disease, you're going to probably, or at least the likelihood of dealing with some kind of estrogen issue, go up. So probiotics, digestive enzymes, fatty vitamins, fiber, these are all strategies for helping balance out excess estrogen. Vitamin E is also a blood thinning vitamin. So important for blood thinning that doctors tell patients who are dealing with surgery not to supplement with vitamin E. In fact, to lay off their vitamin E for a month or so before their surgical procedures. Doctors are scared that vitamin E will cause too much blood thinning. It's because physicians tend to look at nutrients, vitamins, and minerals and such like drugs. I call that allopathic nutrition, doctor nutrition. Vitamin E is not a drug. Vitamin E is a vitamin, and you can't overdose on vitamin E. You got to take a ridiculous amount of it. I don't think there's ever been a case of a vitamin E overdose. And you're not going to have too much blood thinning by using vitamin E. That's just doctor stupidity, silliness. You can take vitamin E. It's not like vitamin E has a drug-like effect on thinning the blood. It helps the body thin the blood when blood thinning is appropriate. So for physicians to tell people to stop taking a vitamin before surgery, not only is it really silly in the sense that you're not going to cause any toxicity with vitamin E or too much blood thinning with vitamin E, but you're going to be depriving yourself of a major, major healing vitamin if you lay off your vitamin E a month before surgery. Vitamin E helps thin the blood. It affords protection against the blood clotting effects associated with estrogen, particularly one of the forms of estrogen called E2 or estradiol. Estradiol, as we said yesterday or the day before, its blood clotting effects are so dramatic and so pronounced that the military is researching it as battlefield medication for clotting the blood of our wounded warriors. If a soldier or a military person is in an accident and there's the blood is up and the patient is bleeding, the soldier is bleeding, they're looking anyway they're exploring using estrogen topically as a blood clotting agent. That's because estrogen clots the blood. Not necessarily in a good way either. Blood clotting is associated with thrombosis and heart disease and high blood pressure, circulatory problems, lymph problems, kidney problems, and all these can be associated with problems metabolizing estrogen, excess estrogen, or estrogen out of balance. And by the way, we're going to talk about xenoestrogens, foreign estrogens. One of the reasons, we'll do this tomorrow or maybe the next day, one of the reasons why estrogen effects are so pronounced, why we have so many problems with infertility and insomnia and anxiety and blood clotting, all of these estrogen-based issues is because of foreign estrogens. Estrogens in the water, plastics that act like estrogens, plastic wrap, heated plastic wrap can release foreign estrogens into foods. So it's not just estrogen that we're making, it's not just estrogen that we're not processing correctly, but it's estrogens in our environment that can lead to these problems. Vitamin E is protective against xenoestrogens too. If you're getting the idea here for the last, after listening to The Bright Side for the last couple of days that you should be supplementing with vitamin E, that's probably the case. Everybody should be supplementing with vitamin E, in my humble opinion. Anyway, estradiol is being explored by use, vitamin E is being explored for use in the military. Let me take that back. Estradiol is being explored by military folks to help clot the blood. If you have elevated estradiol and your blood is clotting inappropriately, vitamin E can act as a blood thinning agent. 400 international units a day, 400 international units a day, or you can go up to 800 or even 1,200 for that matter, international units a day, although I wouldn't use that high dose for a long period of time. Yesterday, an article came out in the journal Menopause relating the hormone estradiol, the blood clotting hormone estradiol, to emotional stress and sensitivity that women have to deal with when they go through menopause. I'll tell you about that when we come back from our break. All All right, we are back on the bright side. My pharmacist Ben. We're on the air Monday through Friday, 8 to 9 Pacific and 10 to 11 Central Time, 24/7 on our archive page at brightsideben.com. You can purchase longevity products right off the website, or you can sign up to join the Brightside Ben team right off of brightsideben.com. Also our blogs, criticalhealthnews.com and pharmacistben.com. If you're interested in purchasing any of our Truth Treatment products, if you're dealing with menopausal issues and you're noticing that you're hyperpigmenting or your skin is thinning, these are all signs of the approaching transition of menopause. Retinol can have an anti-aging effect on your skin, and it can have an anti-hyperpigmenting effect. Retinol is one of the best skin lighteners you could use. It's non-toxic, and in addition to helping lighten the skin as well as or better than the drug hydroquinone, which is what's typically used to lighten the skin and to improve dark spots. Not only is it non-toxic, not only is retinol non-toxic in contradistinction to hydroquinone, but retinol gives you benefits. Retinol is a topical nutritional product, a topical nutritional ingredient. It's a nutritional supplement for the skin. That's the most important thing, by the way, about my Truth Treatment products. They are nutritional supplements for your skin. They're treatments for your skin. Yeah, your skin's going to feel good when you use your Truth Serum and Truth Balm. It'll feel good right away. But the point of using the Truth Treatment products, and the reason I developed the Truth Treatment products, is for the long term. Over the course of the days and the weeks and the months, that's where you really notice the benefits with the Truth Treatment products, because they're nutrition for the skin. They're nutritional supplements for the skin. Retinol and vitamin C primarily, also a little bit of licorice extract and a little bit of chamomile extract and blood or skin permeating agents, ingredients that help the actives, the vitamin C and the retinol, traverse past the surface of the skin to the lower layers. Those are the only things you're going to find in my Truth Treatment products. Permeability agents, a little bit of licorice extract and chamomile extract in my Truth Serum, and then just vitamin A and vitamin C. Okay. From the journal Menopause. As menopause approaches, fluctuating estrogen increases sensitivity to stress and depression. Now, if you've listened to this program, that's not a surprise, because we talk about estrogen's negative effects on this program all the time. But most people, including your physician, probably think that estrogen is some kind of feel-good fertility youth hormone. This is all based on a book called Feminine Forever that came out in the 1960s, and then drug companies got on board with promoting estrogen as a youth and fertility hormone, but it's not. Estrogen is actually anti-fertility. How do you like that? Estrogen is anti-fertility in the sense that it's birth control. That's why your birth control pills are made with estrogen. Fake estrogen, but estrogen nonetheless. That's because estrogen is a baby growing hormone, not a fertility hormone. Progesterone is your fertility hormone. Estrogen, according to this article that was published yesterday in the journal Menopause, the Journal of the North American Menopause Society, a study from the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, shows that estradiol, a form of estrogen, fluctuates, and that is a common occurrence during the menopausal transition, and it may enhance emotional sensitivity to psychosocial stress. When combined with a very stressful life event, i.e. menopause, this sensitivity is likely to contribute to the development of a depressed mood. So what do? Get yourself on some vitamin E, 400 international units a day. Make sure you're using progesterone cream or pregnenolone capsules. Pregnenolone, Pregnenolone, is an incredibly helpful anti-estrogen or estrogen blocking or estrogen balancing hormone. It is a hormone, actually, and you can buy it at the health food store. It's one of the few hormones, along with DHEA, that you can buy at the health food store. It's technically a pre-hormone, but it has hormone effects on its own, and it's wonderful for helping balance out estrogen. Zinc is another great nutritional supplement for helping balance out excess estrogen. 50 milligrams of zinc a day. Again, said so many times in this program, you got to be nuts not to be supplementing every day with zinc. Same with vitamin E, for that matter. All the supplements, but zinc is so fundamental, has so many roles to play in the body, and it's so darn cheap. You can get a daily dose of zinc, a good daily dose of zinc, for a penny or 2 cents a day. 50 milligrams of zinc picolinate a day. Likewise, selenium has wonderful anti-estrogen benefits. It's antiviral. It's cheap. Your ultimate selenium will get you 100 micrograms or so of selenium every day. If you do a capsule every day, I recommend personally 400 to 600 micrograms of selenium a day. Selenium is anti-estrogen, like zinc, like vitamin E. You can tell you're estrogen dominant if you tend to make a lot of estrogen, if you're by your body type, if you're buxom, round, if you have a tendency to gain weight, if you're built thicker rather than thinner, if you have thicker hair, if you have softer skin. These are all indicators that you may be producing excess amounts of estrogen or that you may be estrogen dominant. And that means you're going to be at risk for the untoward effects, the negative effects of the so-called female hormone. So, all women want to have thick hair, beautiful hair, soft skin, and be blemish-free, and have lots of collagen. All of these are associated with estrogen, but so are the side effects, so are the toxicities of estrogen, including stress, including blood clotting, including insomnia, including inflammatory disease, fertility issues, and immune diseases. So estrogen is a dual-edged sword. Using anti-estrogen strategies can be important, and helping your body make estrogen and process estrogen can also be important, and that's where essential fatty acids come in. That's how we started talking about estrogen and the fertility hormones, is via the relationship of essential fatty acids, EFAs, your ultimate EFAs. These are your hormone supplements, your pre-hormone supplements, your hormone-supporting supplements, your essential fatty acids. There's all kinds of ways that you can help support estrogen, including essential fatty acids and probiotics and fiber. There's also a hormone or enzyme, I should say, called aromatase. Aromatase is an enzyme that helps the body make estrogen. By blocking aromatase, you can help reduce the effects. You can reduce the production of estrogen. Bodybuilders know about aromatase inhibitors. Bodybuilders will use zinc as an aromatase inhibitor. There's a substance called chrysin, and another one called tribulus that can be used as aromatase inhibitors to reduce the amount of estrogen you're making. Bodybuilders, weightlifters are obsessed with keeping estrogen levels down. Aromatase converts male hormone into female hormone by blocking aromatase with chrysin or tribulus or zinc, for that matter. Omega-6 essential fatty acids may have an anti-aromatase effect. By blocking the effects of aromatase, you can reduce estrogen. There are drugs that doctors will prescribe to reduce the effects of estrogen via aromatase inhibition. So aromatase inhibitors, whether you use zinc or whether you use chrysin or tribulus or omega fatty acids, aromatase inhibition is another good strategy for helping balance out estrogen. Fermented foods, probiotics, kombucha tea. Kombucha tea is all the rage these days. Do you know kombucha tea is a wonderful way, drinking kombucha tea is a wonderful way to protect yourself from excess estrogen. Kombucha tea is fermented tea, fermented black tea or fermented green tea. It's a living drink filled with enzymes, filled with vitamins, filled with minerals, as well as good bacteria, probiotics, and yeast. It's a probiotic drink. Excuse me. Drink your kombucha tea with your meals. It'll help your digestion work. And if you use kombucha tea, if you're menopausal or you're estrogen dominant, kombucha tea can help your body process estrogen and help protect you from estrogen-induced diseases, including estrogenic cancers. All right, I'm Pharmacist Ben. You are listening to The Bright Side. 844-236-6010 is our number. We'll come back with your phone calls. Got a couple lines open for you. 844-236-6010. We'll be back after this. We are back on The Bright Side. 844-236-6010 is our number. 844-236-6010. We're talking about estrogen and fats and all that has to do with the skin. If you've been prescribed Nolvadex or tamoxifen, then you know good and well what an aromatase inhibitor is. Another drug called aromacin, Femara. These are aromatase inhibitors, prescription aromatase inhibitors that physicians will use for breast cancer. For a condition called gynecomastia. Love that term, gynecomastia. That's when men get breasts, or when children, little boys, start to develop breasts. It's a major side effect of prescription drugs. Ritalin can cause it. Attention deficit disorder drugs like Adderall can cause gynecomastia. When I was in pharmacy school, it used to be we used to be told to warn everybody who was on ulcer drugs, Zantac and Tagamet, for to warn men for symptoms of gynecomastia when they were on these kinds of drugs. Can you imagine what a horrible side effect? Men get breasts, and little boys develop breasts, and they'll use Nolvadex or tamoxifen or these aromatase inhibitor drugs for gynecomastia. Same with infertility, which is can be associated with excessive estrogen, infertility issues. So these aromatase inhibitor drugs will sometimes be used. But why deal with it? Prescription drug. You can use zinc as an aromatase inhibitor. You can use chrysin and tribulus as aromatase inhibitor, as an aromatase inhibitor. In fact, lots of herbs, lots of plants have aromatase inhibition effect. Collard greens have a anti-aromatase effect. Tomato leaves have an anti-aromatase effect. Green tea can help protect you against aromatase. Aromatase is an enzyme, a natural enzyme found in many foods and many fruits and vegetables. In fact, cruciferous vegetables in general, great anti-estrogen or estrogen blocking foods, partially because of their ability to support, to inhibit, I should say, aromatase, the aromatase enzyme. Okay, we'll continue talking about fertility and fats and essential fatty acids and estrogen and also pregnenolone and also vitamin E. How vitamin E can help with Parkinson's disease, Alzheimer's disease, and how vitamin E can help you with diabetes too. How do you like that? Did your endocrinologist tell you about vitamin E helping you with metabolic syndrome and diabetes? Probably not. I'm telling you, folks, the more you study, the more you hear about the relationship between nutritional deficiency and disease and nutrients and good health, the more it becomes clear that we're not sick in this country. We're starving, and we don't need to be fixed. We need to be fed. And we all need to be on a good nutritional supplement program like the one designed by Dr. Wallach, the Healthy Start Pack, and the Mighty 90 Essential Nutrients. You could find out all about the Healthy Start Pack at brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, or criticalhealthnews.com. Okay, time to hit the phones. 844-236-6010 is our number. Got a couple lines open for you. Coy in Arizona. Good morning. Welcome to the Bright Side.
Hi, Ben. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. What's going on, my friend?
Well, I've had a really bad breakout with psoriasis. I've kind of had it my entire life, and I've never seen anything like this. And I've
bummer.
listened to you a lot before, and
you know what I'm going to say?
To eat right. I'm sorry.
There is no try. Remember Yoda? Hate that word, try. There's no try to eat right. You either do or you don't. You don't try. And usually try means you don't. That's what it means, right? Let's be honest now. Doesn't try mean I don't? I want to, but I don't.
I kind of like my pizza once in a while.
Okay, I'm not beating you up, but isn't that an interesting word? When we say try, isn't that the same thing as I want to, but I don't?
Yeah, pretty
right?
much.
That's pretty much what it means.
I'm not arguing with you.
All right.
Yeah.
But that's what I think of. When I hear somebody say, I'll try to make it, I always hear them say, I want to make it, but I won't, or I don't even want to make it. So forget the word try. All right.
Okay.
So and I'm not beating you up. I'm just teasing a little bit.
Oh, I know. That's fine.
Okay. But here's the thing. Psoriasis is ridiculously easy to deal with. And we have more and more drugs coming out to treat psoriasis, supposedly. Just last week, I got an email from a dermatological magazine that I subscribe to, and talked about 4 new drugs coming out for psoriasis. Now they use these powerful anti-cancer drugs for psoriasis, these immune system inhibiting drugs for psoriasis. Let me ask you something, Coy. You say you've been listening to this program. You sound like a smart guy. If a medical treatment is an immune inhibitor, what does that tell you that the disease is? If the medical treatment shuts down the immune system, what does that tell you the disease is?
It's the immune system.
It's an immune disease, exactly. If they give you a steroid drug or they give you an anti-immune drug, something that shuts down the immune system as the treatment, that's implying that the problem is an immune problem, and it is. Psoriasis is not a skin problem. It's an immune system problem. That means
I did 2 of those pharmaceutical studies, actually.
You did? What did they give you?
The first time about 8 years ago, I took one where I took a pill, and it cleared everything up to a certain degree, but then once I went off of it, it kind of came back a little bit. This is before I ever listened to you and knew what was going on.
What was? Really. Do you know what it was?
No, they wouldn't tell me.
Okay, well, that'd be interesting. I'd like to know what they gave you, but it doesn't really matter. The point is, as far as reversing your illness, that none of that matters. What matters is you have an immune problem. That means you have a defensive problem. If you have a defensive problem, that means there's an offending agent. You see me working here?
Uh-huh.
So you got to figure out what is the offending agent. That is how you deal with it. With psoriasis, that's how you deal with eczema. That's how you deal with autoimmunity. You know, I was just reading about Alzheimer's disease. Now they think Alzheimer's disease is related to the immune system. Well, you know what? Everything's related to the immune system. This is why we have chronic degenerative diseases. The body is under attack. So all you got to do, my friend, is you got to figure out why is the body under it, or what is causing the attack, what's the offending agent, number one, and then eliminate it. And then number two, support your immune system. That's how you handle psoriasis. That's how you handle autoimmunity. That's how you handle virtually every single chronic degenerative disease you can name. You figure out what's the offending agent, and then you support the body's ability to protect itself, i.e. the immune system. So number one, you do a food diary, right? Write down everything you're eating. Now, if you flare it up, that's great. And as far as reversal goes, that's awesome. That's a potential source of awesome information for you if you flare up. And that's true about any flare-ups in any condition on anybody. A flare-up means something recently happened. Something recently got into your body. And when I say got into the body, I really mean got into the blood through the digestive system. So what got in there the last week, the last 5 days, the last 4 days?
You know what? It was kind of going on for a while. You know, I thought I kind of was chalking it up to stress.
Don't.
Because I've been going through a lot, that type of thing. But then, you know, here's exactly the truth. 2 weeks ago, I bought like this big can of salsa, and I looked at the label. It didn't seem like there was anything really bad in it, and I had that in a bag of chips, and everything has just gone crazy.
All right. Well, I'm telling you, that's awesome information. Do you know how powerful what you just said, Coy, is so powerful? 99% of the psoriasis sufferers will not know to make that link that you just made. Now, I'm not saying it is or it isn't, but the fact that you were smart enough to know that you ate something or that you put something in your system, and that's when it all changed, that's when you got your flare-ups, that's when your condition started to deteriorate, is powerful. That makes you smarter than your doctor. Do you know your doctor's not going to make that connection for you? If you go today to the dermatologist with this hideous case of psoriasis, as you described, you're getting put on a drug, and probably not a nice one. So that's powerful information that you just came up with, and congratulations, number one, and don't underestimate its importance. I'll finish up when we come back from our break, because I got a couple other ideas for you, okay, Coy? Don't go away. I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to The Bright Side. We'll try to get to all our callers before we wind down today, so hang tight. We'll be back right after this.
Thank you for listening to GCN. Visit GCNlive.com today.
We are back on The Bright Side. I'm Pharmacist Ben. We're talking estrogen and skin and essential fats and psoriasis with Coy in Arizona. Coy, I'm going to go fast because I got a bunch of calls on the line here, so I'm going to go real fast, okay?
No problem.
Okay, digestive system, number one. That's always the first place to focus. You're smart with the salsa connection there, but there could be something else going on. Usually involves fats when it comes to psoriasis and eczema. Usually involves fat processing. Vitamin A, vitamin D, 20,000 IU of vitamin A. Make sure you're getting out in some sun. You're lucky you're in Arizona. You probably got some good sun there. Get out in the sun every day. Don't burn, but get out in the sun every day if you can, for a couple of minutes anyway, until your psoriasis starts to heal up. You can also use fish oil for your vitamin D, or you can just get vitamin D supplements, but the sun is the best way, is the best source of vitamin D. Vitamin E, 400 international units a day probably is a good idea. Make sure you're using digestive enzymes with all your meals. You may want to consider some of your ultimate enzymes on an empty stomach too. That may help quiet down some of the inflammation. 50 milligrams of zinc every day. You can also put zinc right on top of the psoriatic plaques, psoriasis plaques. You can also use vitamin D right on top of the psoriasis plaques. In fact, there's a prescription medicine for psoriasis called Dovanex, which is a vitamin D cream, and just recently a new, so-called new psoriasis medication just came out that's vitamin D plus a steroid, or pharmacological vitamin D. Last but most certainly not least, when it comes to dealing with psoriasis and the immune system and inflammatory issues, make sure you're using fermented foods and probiotics, kombucha tea, which we just talked about, any kind of fermented foods, and then the Biolumin Nightly Essence, 3 in the morning, 3 in the afternoon, 3 at night. Now, it's not essential fatty acids, your ultimate EFAs, especially fish oil. You may want to take some extra fish oil, too. That can have some nice benefits for psoriasis. There's tons more, but that's a great place for you to start. Did you have something else you want to say?
I actually want to say thank you, because in 2011, you actually read one of letters on the air, and actually it helped me, and it cleared me all up. So
that's awesome.
I have total
Thanks.
faith in what you're talking about. So
Thank you,
I
Coy.
appreciate
And then
everything.
My pleasure. Check the archives too, because sometimes I go really fast and it's easy to miss little pieces of information. So check the archives, just review them, and just make sure you get everything. Thanks.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Coy. Take care. Okay, let's go to Brian in Texas. What's up, Brian? Welcome to the bright side.
Hey, Ben. How you doing?
Doing good.
Nice to hear. I've been trying to get in touch with you for the last couple of weeks. I keep missing you, but I have a question about. I'm a trainer, so I have a question about a client of mine that is on a whole bunch of medications. And I'm sure you're not going to say it's bad.
Speak into the phone, Brian.
I'm sorry. Can you hear me better?
You're kind of going in and out. What was your question?
So I wanted to ask you about a client of mine, but also, real quick, if I could ask you about a couple things you talked about last week about food. So you were talking about eggs and not cooking them. Like the rawer they are, the better it is for you.
Yeah.
So how much can you cook an egg without destroying the cells?
There's no way to really know. To the degree that the texture of it changes is the degree you're starting to break up the proteins. You're denaturing the proteins. And where that cutoff point, it's on a continuum. You know what I'm saying? So we're that exact cutoff point where it becomes worse than, you lose all the benefits and it just becomes purely bad. I don't know where that cutoff point is, but it's on a continuum, and the more you cook, the more you're degrading the protein, and certainly you're losing the enzymes, et cetera. If the egg is fresh, it's a wonderful, wonderful living, not exactly living food, but it's got a lot of compounds that are important for life in it. But as you cook that egg, those substances get destroyed, and there's no cutoff point. I couldn't tell you the answer to that.
Okay, I understand. And then also you were talking a lot about sugar and the negative effects about sugar. And I stay away from processed sugar. But do you feel the same about like sugar that's coming from fresh fruit and organic stuff?
Well, in fresh fruit and in produce, you're always going to get I talked about this yesterday, actually. There's always going to be cofactors that help your body process that sugar. So it's much better for you to get sugar from a whole food than it is the concentrated essence of sugar, which, for the millions of years that humanity has been on the planet, we never had purified sugar. It's only been 100 years or 200 years or 300 years, a very short amount of time from an evolutionary perspective, that our bodies have had to confront this pure sugar. In foods, you have the cofactors. However, with genetic modification, not necessarily high-tech genetic modification, but all genetic modification that's been going on for thousands of years, sugar has become concentrated in fruits. So even fruits are going to be out of balance in terms of sugar and the nutrients that are important for processing the sugar. Bottom line is you don't need it. Oh, you need a little bit, but you don't need excessive amounts of sugar. What we're doing is we're eating for our taste buds, and we're eating for our brain. And I'm not beating anybody up about this, by the way, because I do it myself. We're eating to satisfy our brain, not our bodies, and we're paying the price for that. And so, do you need the sweets and do you need the sugar, Brian? That's really the ultimate question. Is it going to make you better in any way, aside from the fact that you like the taste, and you're going to get a big hit of dopamine and pleasure hormones in your brain? Is there a need for it? Go ahead.
I actually don't like fruit that much. I eat it because I think it's healthy. That's why my point is
veggies.
I was wondering if I should
go veggies.
Increase my fruit intake.
Yeah, go veggies and pick small fruits like berries. Those are going to be your best ones. And pick fruits that have a lot of peel relative to the pulp. I call it the peel to pulp ratio. You want more peel compared to pulp, and that's where the berries come in. If you have a lot of pulp and not a lot of peel, you're getting tons of sugar. And when there's naturally sugar found in plants, that's typically going to be a plant that's genetically modified to produce even more sugar. So you just got to be careful with fruits. Small amount of fruits, they do have obviously important nutrients in there, but go veggies as much as you can.
Okay.
All right,
and,
real quick, what's your question?
So I have a customer, a client of mine, Melinda. She's really a heavy woman. She says she has periodic limb movement disorder.
How old is she?
Depression and anxiety.
She's a mess. How old? No, don't, Brian. Hang on. I'm going to get you the answer here. It's not hard.
Okay.
I've seen this before. How old is she? First of all.
She's 44 years old.
Okay. She's majorly estrogen dominant. And it may have to do with foreign estrogens, xenoestrogens, but it probably has to do with how they're being produced in her body. Estrogen is made in fat, so the more fat you're carrying, the more fat cells you got, the more estrogen you're making. Estrogen will also make you fat. So the more fat cells you have, the more estrogen you're making, the fatter you're going to be. The more estrogen you're making, you get this downward spiral of estrogen dominance. So you got to cut that spiral off immediately. The first thing you want to do is work on the digestive system, improve her excretion of estrogen. Extremely important. Everything we talked about earlier today, fiber and probiotics and estrogen balancing supplements like vitamin E and zinc and aromatase inhibitors. Every single strategy we talked about here today to help her body process estrogen. Using progesterone cream and pregnenolone can help balance out her excess estrogen. She's got a lot of problems at this point. Her blood sugar is probably off. She's probably got inflammatory or maybe even an immune condition. That's what that limb issue is. But right now, first and foremost, you got to fix the estrogen problem. That's her job number one. All right, she's probably heavily medicated.
Yeah, she's on a lot of medication.
Well, that's messing it up. That's throwing things off as well. Prescription medication can have estrogenic properties. Prescription medication slows the body down. This is one of the big problems with estrogen, is it slows the body down. It's like a sluggishness type of hormone. So she's already going to be sluggish. Now the medication is going to make it worse. And you're going to have a tall order if you're her trainer, my friend. Get her on a rebounder or get an inversion device. You know what I'm talking about? Those inversion things where you hang upside down. Get her on one of those. Anything she could do to improve her circulation and improve elimination and processing of estrogen. That's job number one. She's got a lot of things to do, but that's job number one. And by the way, estrogen will keep you from building muscle. So if you're a trainer and you're trying to get her to build muscle, the estrogen is going to make it much more difficult. Conversely, the more muscle she's carrying, the more balanced, the less pronounced her estrogen effects are going to be. The more muscle mass she carries, the less pronounced her estrogen dominance and her estrogenic effects will be. So get her building muscle, but that's a tall order. So you got lots of stuff going on there. Number one, you got to work on the digestive system and improve her ability to process estrogen. Number two, get her on estrogen balancing nutrients like the vitamin E and the chrysin and tribulus we talked about earlier, and fiber and pregnenolone and progesterone, etc. And number three, get her moving the body, circulating, improving, especially lymphatic circulation. Estrogen is cleared largely out of the lymph, and when the lymph becomes stagnant, that's where estrogenic issues, including breast cancer, come in. So getting on a rebounder and moving the lymph, and even deep breathing can help move the lymph around as well. Thanks, Brian. Got to motivate. Hey, Kelly in North Carolina, you got something real quick for us?
Yeah, I've got a friend of mine here, and he has been diagnosed with something called essential tremors.
Yes, I know exactly I know a lot about it. Number one, Mighty 90 Essential Nutrients, sipping on the Beyond Tangy Tangerine. Number two, eliminating any problem foods if there are food problems, eliminating them and using probiotics and digestive support. And number three, make sure he's practicing slow, deep breathing, especially when he notices he's flaring up in his tremors. Slow, deep breathing. Got a lot more if you want to call back tomorrow, but we're just flat out of time, Kelly. I apologize. Thanks for listening, friends. I'm Pharmacist Ben. You've been listening to The Bright Side. We'll be back at you tomorrow with more good health information. Have an awesome, beautiful, spectacular day. We'll talk to you all later. Bye for now.